Record. All right, cool. Amira, you're up.
Wait, right quick. Okay. Um, Hi, I'm
Hi, Amir.
Amira Klum at B Vice. You probably know me already.
I
Oh,
do.
it's Bret Hart too.
Yep.
Um, so first question, kind of right off the bat, or do you want to introduce yourself? Because
Uh,
now that we're
sure.
recording.
I'm Dr. D'Alessandro. I'm one of the co-principals. And nice to see you, Amira. How are you doing?
I'm I'm good. How are you?
Probably similar. We're recording this from our living room and not from campus, so that tells us something.
Yeah,
Nice to see
yeah,
you.
you too. All right, getting straight into it.
Mhm.
What brought you to Skyline?
Yeah, I get that question a lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always been pretty similar for me, is that I've been in Oakland now for 15 years and in different ways. I was the Dean of Students at Oakland School for the Arts. I was an assistant principal at Madison. I was the principal at Bret Hart. And no matter where I was, I always heard about Skyline. And the stories were always really great or really hard. And I would listen to my students tell these really amazing stories of all of the opportunities that they got when they came to Skyline. And almost equally, I would hear from my previous students that they weren't feeling like they were seen, that they weren't feeling like they had the opportunity. And so for me, I knew and could see and could hear all of the potential that Skyline had to reach all kids. And it really was the driving factor for me to want to come up here and to want to be at Skyline, because I think it's an incredible place. And I think our kids are incredible, and the talent and the creativity um, that I see every day is what brought me here.
Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse. Um,
That's all right.
so you used to be a teacher, correct?
Mhm.
And how do your experiences vary from being a teacher to now being like in admin and being a principal? Like, what different steps changed, and what parts of it did you like, and what parts of it did you not like?
Mhm. Um, I love teaching. I was an English teacher, and I really felt like being in the classroom with my students was one of the um, most amazing things that I'd experiences I'd ever had. I loved listening to kids tell stories. I love telling stories, and really inspired me to think through like what was the work that I wanted to do. And if you had asked me when I was in graduate school if I ever wanted to be an administrator, I would have adamantly said no. Nope. I like my classroom. I like being with kids. I like thinking about how to support directly. And then something shifted for me as I went through more and more schools and saw that a lot of the problems were systematic. They were access, like not everyone had the same access, whether it was teachers or students. The opportunities weren't there equitably. And so I started to think, is there something that I could do about this? Is there something that I want to do about this? And so I started off thinking about being the dean of students, right? So the majority of what I did at OSA was around discipline, and really thinking through how to work with families and community and build partnerships for kids who needed support. And I think that kind of started me jumping off into administration. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't miss the classroom. I think there's something really beautiful about being able to connect with kids in that way. And I think one of the things that's hardest for me now is that I don't have that same opportunity. It is often that I don't get to see the kids that I used to be able to see in my classroom, and I get to go deeper with kids who really need support. And so that also feels like an opportunity.
I don't think I could ever. I don't know. Like being a teacher, I feel like is such a. There's so much pressure on you to like. I don't know. I don't think that I would ever be able to be a good enough teacher to do it for my whole life.
I'm sure you could, right? I mean, being in your role right now, it's about thinking about your peers, right? And thinking about how you give kids opportunity for voice and your peers. And so you're doing a lot of it right now. We're all teachers when we really think about it, right? But yes,
Mhm.
you are correct. There is a lot of pressure and there's a lot of responsibility. And often
Mhm.
you don't get that gratification of feeling good in that moment. It takes a long
Yeah.
time for kids to come back and say, hey, that really meant something. And so I think when that does happen, it's really special.
Who is a leader that you look up to?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people in my life that I look up to. I have to say, like, Miss Pierce and I came to Skyline together on purpose, and there's a lot of work that she does that I really look up to. And so I feel like I'm a person who wants to see change, and I want to see how people move in the world, and I learn a lot from the people around me. And so, she's been someone in my life that I've learned a lot from, and also learned how to be a good partner in work when we have different roles. So she certainly is someone that I look up to. And I think part of that is about how we are able to communicate about our successes and the places where we want to grow. She's a good thought partner. And so for me, being a good leader means listening and helping you, reflecting back to you how you can change and grow.
So starting to shift away from more school things.
Yep.
If the world went back to how it was, no quarantine, no shelter in place, none of that, what would be the first thing you did?
I would get on a plane to see my best friend's new baby. I haven't met her yet, and I really feel sad about that. She's a year old now, and I wish I had a chance to swoop that little baby up, but hopefully soon.
Who would you love to see perform in concerts? Like when we have concerts again?
Oh man, that's really tough. I don't know. I love live music. It's hard for me to answer because I just love live music. And I really love I love when artists get together and play. So it's kind of like different people all together.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really hard one. It's a really, really hard one. The last concert I went to was a long time ago, was several years ago now. I went to go see Counting Crows, and it was pretty amazing. I wouldn't mind doing that again.
Mm.
But I want to reserve the right to come back and pick a different person because it might happen.
Yeah. Do you prefer podcasts or music?
Depends what I'm doing. Podcasts if I'm driving, music if I'm cooking.
I'm like the opposite. I would say music if I'm driving, and like podcasts if I'm like doing something.
I get distracted and I can't listen, and so I feel like I then miss half the story, and I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
What is your most prized possession?
Object?
Yeah.
So something, okay. I have a really beautiful picture of my Nana that my mom took, a black and white photograph, and I really love it.
Yeah, that's important. If you were immortal, what age would you want to stop aging at?
I'm not sure yet. I'd like to get through another 10 years, and I'll tell you. I'm hopeful.
What is home to you?
The ocean. The ocean is home to me. I grew up in a very small coastal town. I worked on fishing boats. I love the ocean. It is the sound, the smell, it grounds me.
East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast. Like generally speaking, where would I want, or is that
Both.
What do I prefer?
Both. What do you prefer?
West Coast. I'm from the East Coast.
What is
Don't
your
share
favorite?
This with my parents.
What is your favorite vacation spot?
Anywhere by the ocean. The closer to the ocean, the better.
Do you have an oceanic preference?
Oh, that's a very deeply personal question. I grew up on the Atlantic Ocean, so I want to say Atlantic, but I have come to just deeply love the Pacific Ocean.
Sorry. What would you do if aliens showed up to Earth?
Ask them where they came from, what their world looked like.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I'd
valid.
want to know. What? Why did you come here? What's going on?
Hmm. What is the first thing you do in the morning?
Well, before COVID, I would go and swim. Now I read the news. I like hop on the news app right away, which I don't think is a good thing, but it's what I do now to take up that time.
Do you like to swim?
I love to swim. Yeah. I grew up swimming. I was on the swim team. It's
Oh my God, me
like,
too.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm
When did you start swimming?
co-captain. I started swimming when I was like, competitively, I started swimming when I was like 10 or 11, I think.
Nice.
And then I did like club swim for a little bit and then the Skyline team.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I've always been a swimmer. I picked the one sport where you don't have to run.
Yep. That's exactly why I did it too. I love swimming.
And that is a shot at Colas.
Absolutely.
So what was your opinion on modern art and why?
What's my opinion on modern art? Wow, I'm not good at generalizing my opinion. I think I'd have to see a particular piece. I think there's some pieces of modern art that I really love. I think there are some pieces that don't speak to me, but I think our ability as human beings to create art is pretty incredible. So I have a lot of respect and awe, just kind of generally speaking. If I were to pick a type of art I would go towards, it probably wouldn't be modern art necessarily, but I could be swayed for that not to be true, because I've seen some pretty beautiful things that I could say are amazing.
Are you more of a STEM person or more of like an arts and humanities person?
Arts and humanities all day long.
Oh, I guess you were an English teacher, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in storytelling. I'm a big believer in that as an art and creative writing, and I love fiction and short stories. I was a photography major in college, so yeah.
What is your favorite book or one of the most influential books that you've read?
Okay, it has to go by time period, because I'm just going to give you a couple because they've changed over the years.
Go ahead.
When I was in high school, I read this book called A Prayer for Owen Meany, and it was the longest book that I'd ever read, and I was super proud of myself because I finished a book, and I struggled a little bit in school. But one of the things that I really loved about that book was that, one, it was super long. At the time, I remember thinking like, this is a huge book. And two, I remember thinking like, how did the author start at the beginning and tie it up so perfectly in the end? All of the pieces kind of came together, and I remember being like in total awe of that. And it started my my spark of reading and really liking to read. But I think over the years it's kind of changed. I love Barbara Kingsolver. Animal Dreams was always a big one for me. Michael Cunningham, Home at the End of the World. I think those are probably, I think if I had to pack 3 books up to read over and over again, those might be it.
What makes you feel at peace?
Cooking. I love to cook. It's
What's
kind of meditative for me.
What's your staple dish, if you could pick one?
Well, I like making pasta sauce. So I like that it takes hours and hours and hours, and I like all the pieces and changing the flavors. And so it's not a like making dinner, it's the kind of day activity. I get tomatoes and I do the whole thing. It's like that is the activity for the day. That's probably my
Project.
staple. It's a project. Yeah, exactly.
Me and my friends we like to do we call it like family dinner, and so we'll all get together, and I mean not as much anymore, but we'll all get together and everyone will have a specific task and everyone will make this big dinner. It's a lot of fun.
Do you like cooking?
I like baking more than I like cooking because I feel like I'm not as trusting in myself to like eyeball things. And with cooking, everything is kind of like an approximation versus like baking, everything is like an exact amount of everything. So I think I like baking a little bit more.
I'm a horrible baker. I can't follow a recipe to save my life.
Yeah, that's like my
so
thing.
I give you a lot of credit.
Yeah. If you were, I'm sorry, my bad. What's the strangest food you've ever eaten?
I ate puffin once. I didn't feel good about it. I know. I was in Iceland. I didn't know what it was. I found out afterwards. Yeah. It wasn't a win.
Yeah. Can't really live that one down.
Nope. Didn't feel good about it.
What did you have for breakfast this morning? Hopefully not puffins.
I did not have puffins for breakfast. Or puffins, the cereal, which is sometimes a breakfast item. I actually weirdly had a piece of pizza this morning.
Oh, but pizza for breakfast is good.
Yeah. I love Zachary's Pizza, deep dish chicken barbecue. And I got it for dinner last night. And so this morning I was like, yeah, that's what I want for breakfast.
Leah, the ASB president, used to work at Jules, which is like right across the street from Zachary's.
Yeah.
And I used to go and get they have this like veggie one pizza, and it's basically like salad on a piece of bread. And she used to make fun of me, but it was so good.
I love it. I love salad on bread, like on pizza. Like I love when they put arugula on it and whatever. It's great. It's so good.
Phenomenal. It's so good.
Yep.
What have been some of your quarantine must-haves, like snacks, shows, books?
HGTV. I love watching HGTV. Like I like being able to watch them start something and totally destroy it, and then it comes out and it's just like, perfectly done. And I think that's anything HGTV these days.
Yeah.
Yep. That is for sure been one of my.
Are you a fan of reality TV? I guess HGTV is like reality.
Yeah, but you mean things like Kardashians, The Bachelor, like Jersey Shore. Yeah. Oh, Jersey Shore is hard. I've watched Jersey Shore a long time ago. I've watched Jersey Shore. It's not the thing that I will go to. Although once in a while I watch the a new version of something. I think I binged something, Married at First Sight. I watched the season of that when the TV shows kind of ended. I think that was something, but it's not my go-to if it's not like reality HGTV. That's more my go-to. It's like watching people yell at each other. That's not necessarily my TV choice.
Yeah. Do you stan any celebrities?
Do I scan? What do you mean?
Stan. It's basically like, are you a really big fan of any like major celebrity where you like follow all of their social medias and their every move?
No, not anyone in particular, but I have a really guilty pleasure of like People magazine. I love reading People magazine, like weirdly. I want to know what's going on, but no one in particular.
Yeah.
How about you?
I stan a lot of people. I think I spend way too much time on Twitter. And I'm a big Harry Styles person. I'm a really big Harry Styles person. I don't know. I keep up with the Kardashians a lot, which is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't know. I think it's so interesting, like, because I feel so involved in their lives, but I'm just like not in any way.
Hmm.
My sisters just got home.
I refer to it as my friends on TV.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's
Like
I
you're
feel
so
like I
into
know
it.
them, but
Yeah.
I know that I don't know them at all.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yep. I can understand that.
Yeah. If you had a personal assistant, what would they do? What would be their like primary job?
Like what's
Like if you had,
well,
what would be like their daily errands that they would have to do every day?
oh, daily errand? I was like, I'm not I love running errands, so that wouldn't be the thing. I think like for me it would be managing my calendar. Like keeping track of all the Zoom meetings that I need to be on.
Yeah,
That would be
that's
my yeah.
that's an important one.
Yep. Yep.
What, sorry, what is your favorite sandwich?
Well, I love the once a year turkey with like stuffing and
Oh,
cranberry
the
and
Thanksgiving
mayonnaise.
leftover
Yeah,
sandwich.
right.
Yep.
That, and I like to put sprouts on it or arugula. I like just to pretend like it's kind of healthy. But that's one of my favorite things. I take the stuffing and I put it in a waffle maker, and that's the bread, and it's really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one.
It's a little weird. It's not
Never
something
thought
you
of
want
that
any other
though.
time, but this time.
But I feel like it makes sense, like the stuffing in the waffle maker, because it's bread.
Right. Because if you do
Huh.
bread and then stuffing, it's too much.
Too much
And then
bread,
the turkey's
yeah.
kind of it's too much bread. I don't want too much bread.
Huh. That's an interesting one. Haven't heard that one before. Do you like spicy food?
Yes. I
Do
love
you have a
spicy food.
specific type of spicy that you prefer?
It depends on the food. So hot wings, it would be red hot wings with ranch dressing. But like other types of food, you need other kinds of hot sauce.
Yeah, I'm a big spicy food person myself. If you could go to lunch with any person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Yeah, I would go to lunch with my Nana, and I would bring my kids because I would love for her to meet them. That is what I would do. I just co-opted that question and added a couple pieces to it. We're all going to lunch, but
yeah, everyone's coming to lunch.
Everyone's coming to lunch.
Okay, everyone's invited.
Yeah.
Do you have any pets?
I have a dog named Casper, and he's a rescue. He's a huge dog. He's a Catahoula. He's a hound. So he has one blue eye and one brown eye.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you were a dog breed, what breed do you think you would be?
Well, it's a hard question because I think I have to say Catahoula because that's the dog you have, and don't people say you look like your dog? Like, isn't that the kind of?
I think so, but I think what breed of dog would you want to be?
I like Casper. I might say that right now. I think he's pretty athletic, so I aspire to be a little more athletic than I am. So I'm gonna pick Catahoula.
Did you grow up with any pets?
Yeah, I grew up with a lot of pets. My grandfather was a farmer. My dad always had farm animals, so we grew up with a lot of different animals around and a lot of different dogs. And my grandfather he always had hound dogs, and so they used to breed hound dogs. So there's always dogs at my house, cats, goats, chickens, pigs, sheep, the whole thing.
That sounds like fun.
It was a lot of work. It was fun, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah. What did you want to be when you were younger?
I wanted to be a photographer for a long time. I thought that that's what I was going to do. And I still play every once in a while, but it's not, I found different things. But when I was in college, I thought I was gonna work for National Geographic and travel the world and you know, do all that.
Do you still do photography as like a hobby?
I do. I definitely do. And it's easier now because so much of it is digital.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to have a dark room anymore. And so I don't do it as much as I want, as much as I wanted to, but I do it a lot.
hmm
Yeah.
From living in the Bay Area, what are some favorite? Blah, 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 blah. What are some of your favorite spots to go in the Bay Area, like San Francisco, Oakland?
Yeah. Yeah. I let's see. I love to take the kids out to Point Reyes. That was always one of the
Mm,
things that I really enjoyed. I like to drive out there. I like the small little beaches. Um, you know, it's been really cool to be able to just, so much is so close. And so
mhm.
we've done a lot of travel, kind of, you know, an hour away, 6 hours away. Every year we get in the car and we drive up north to visit friends
Mm.
in Oregon. So I love all the little coastal towns. I also started for the first time going inland a little bit, and that's been fun too. So I'm learning. I don't have a favorite spot yet, but I'll keep traveling and tell you in the next time we do this.
Do you have a favorite food spot? The Bay Area
Um,
is notorious for our culinary diversity.
mhm, I mean, I mentioned Zachary's. That was like something I had never had before, so feels um, that feels really good. I worked in restaurants for a long time in the Bay Area, so
Mm,
um, I think it depends on what I'm craving, right? Like
yeah.
there are lots of different places for lots of different things. And I
hmm
think there's just some incredible restaurants around here. But that's Zachary's is my like, what's my staple food? There's also a really amazing Thai food restaurant that I crave a lot called Daughter Thai that I really think is pretty incredible. So
I love
that's
Daughter Thai. It's so
they're really
good.
good. They're so good. Yeah. So
Yeah, they're pretty good. They have the farmhouse one.
hmm
Also, they're like the sister
yeah,
restaurant.
down in Jack London, right? Is that where
hmm
it is? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, it's cool.
I think it's pretty good.
hmm
Um, so out of all of the schools that you've worked at, what lessons like have you learned anything from each school specifically, and how have you kind of used that to like
hmm
carry on throughout your career?
hmm I mean, definitely, right? I think I feel like I'm always learning. You know, that's kind of like a cheesy response, but like when you do something for the first time, you know, if you're reflective, you're bound to learn from the mistakes that you make um, and build on your successes. You know, I think one of the things that has always really stuck with me is the like build the relationships, listen, you know, take time and really think through what people are saying. And I think that is something that I've really tried to hold on to wherever I've been. Um, and then, you know, when you make mistakes, which we all do, don't let them define who you are, but let them change what you do. And so I think that's been something that's been really important for me.
Yeah, that's working in like with students and stuff. I feel like there are always so many lessons to learn from everyone.
hmm hmm
Um, we went through all of our questions. I'm trying to think about, was there anything you were prepared to talk about?
No, you know, I saw the questions and I really wanted to come to this open and, you know, and be here with you and figure out what, what, what you were asking. I think that like, that's that listening piece, right?
hmm
So I've really enjoyed being here with you today and I appreciate it. I appreciate your time on a Friday.
Oh yeah, it's okay. Oh my goodness. I was in ceramics this morning and I was so tired. And we were doing like we got little pottery wheels. And so we were
Uh-huh.
doing pottery, we were doing like
Cool.
stuff on like the little pottery wheels and I was like falling asleep and doing it. It was so yeah,
Oh,
quarantine virtual learning is hard.
yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that like virtual pottery.
I love Miss Alonga though, so she makes it
Yeah,
worth it.
she's fantastic.
Do you have any, like, what are your, if this school year played out in a perfect world, how would the rest of it go?
In a perfect world, we'd be back
Well,
at school.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, this is new for all of us, and I think that it's just a very strange time. Um, and I wish we were back in a lot of ways. Like I wish that, clearly safely, but um, I miss the feeling of school and the tempo of school.
Yeah. Hmm.
I never thought I would say that I miss the sound of a bell, but I do. And I forgot how much I really that like for a very long time, almost the entirety of my life, that has
Yeah.
that has kept me going from one moment to the next, right? Is the like, oh, the bell's about to ring.
Yeah. I was talking to, because my younger sister's a sophomore. And
Uh-huh.
so we were talking and we were like, we never would have thought that I'd sit here complaining about how much I miss going to school.
Mhm.
And it's just like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it kind of taught everyone that, like, to be a little more grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you? Same question.
Um, I don't know. I think as much as I would like to go back to how being in school was, I don't think that that would be possible for, like, as much as I want to go back and see everyone, I know that it wouldn't be the same as seeing everyone before.
Mhm.
And also, I don't think I'd be able to get up at like 7:45. Like, as much as I want to tell myself like, oh, we could just go right back to school, get back
Yeah.
in the swing of things, I don't
Yeah.
know how I did it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how I was up 7:45 at campus at 8,
Yeah.
leaving at 3. Like, I can't picture myself doing it now. But
Yeah. How do
I
you think it
definitely
will
could.
change when we do go back?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I think that it's, as much as people will want it to be how it was, like you can't really go up and like run and go hug
Mhm.
your friends and stuff. And
Mhm.
I think that that's probably would be like the most disappointing thing, because
Mhm.
like everyone wants to run back to campus and be like, oh my God, hey, but like I don't think
Yeah.
we'd be like allowed to. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's weird to think about.
It's really weird, especially like
Yeah.
going to college and making college decisions based on like, oh, it's
Yep.
so strange. It's so strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. The world tipped on its axis for a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I think we can kind of wrap it up there, honestly. We went through all of our questions pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Look at us
Well,
go.
if anything else comes up, I'm happy to jump back on. I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate yours. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything you want to say to
I
students
think.
before you go?
Um. No, I think I'm thinking about you guys, and just this is a strange time we are in, and we're here for
Hmm.
you. There's a lot of adults thinking about you, and a lot of people that really care, and your friends as well. And so I'm hoping the best for all of you.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Have,
you.
have a nice rest of your day. Enjoy your
You
weekend.
you too. All right. Take care.